Vancouver Whitecaps, there was a statement saying that several of them got sick in that Concacaf Champions Cup final. Jesse Marsch saying, they're better now. They're probably not ready for 90-minute performances, but for me, it's appalling that this is the second year in a row that Concacaf and the powers that be have allowed an MLS team to go down to Mexico for a big final and get poisoned. It's ridiculous. Something has to be done to protect these environments. All right, Jesse Marsch, not the only one to talk about it. Axel Schuster, the sporting director of Vancouver Whitecaps, saying we are working through the analysis of what really happened and where the origin was or the different origins have been. And so far, our analysis leads to the assumption that it happened after the game somewhere on the way back. Jesper Sorensen, Vancouver coach. Schuster continuing on, and yes, maybe the same for our head scout, the same for Steve Nash, who was there, our owner with his son, and some other people, and all of those had no symptoms. So just by the logic of it, feels like it was more related to something that happened after the game. Words from around Vancouver Whitecaps, Sorensen simply saying, I don't expect us to be deliberately poisoned or anything when we were down there, but I don't know. So specifically on how Jesse Marsch frames it, the language that he uses, Herc, should he get lost?
All this is from The Athletic, an article that came out on The Athletic, and Jesse Marsch says, I have no proof, but as soon as he says that, it's an automatic get lost. Nothing else matters. If you don't have the proof, and all you're doing is speaking this into existence because a Canadian team got embarrassed. An MLS team got embarrassed again in Mexico, and they want to blame or insinuate that they were poisoned or there was something nefarious going on. I don't buy that. I don't buy that. They're not the first people to get sick when they go to the foreign country, and they certainly won't be the last. I've gotten sick on assignment on different countries. This happens all the time. In fact, when you travel, you read these government warnings, one of those things may lead to you getting sick. To my understanding, they brought in their own chef. To my understanding, they had everything under control. And now that they were embarrassed, they want to come up with conspiracy theories. I said it last week. This is just dumb. I don't buy it. Jesse Marsch is better than this. Jesse Marsch should have stopped himself when he said, I have no proof, but he continued. I think their sporting director was on the right path where, he correctly wouldn't want to assume that anybody would willingly poison another human being for a sporting event.
I'm surprised that we did not have a full screen with Dr. Fauci on it, telling us about what exactly happened and how these players got poisoned and what are the origins of this illness. Nonsense. It's embarrassing, really.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing. Completely unnecessary. There is no need for Jesse Marsch to get involved in this. And if you're going to get involved, the only thing that gives you leverage is, as Herc just mentioned, you have to have proof that something like this happened. But when you hear everybody else that we just showed full screen, not including Dr. Fauci, and I don't know why we didn't contact him, irresponsible from us, by the way. They're actually telling us what I can read, because if we're going to assume things, what I can read between the lines is, these guys after the game had something to eat that they shouldn't be eating. Or these guys went out after the game and they got sick doing that. On the way back, something happened that was not in control by the team. For a coach, a national team coach, to say something like this is irresponsible. Yeah. It's unnecessary, and it sends the wrong message, and it creates and builds an excuse and an environment in which excuses are accepted. And it gives validity to whatever people think when they go to Mexico, that they must be getting sick, they must be getting poisoned. Very careful what you're doing, Jesse Marsch, because you are packaging a whole history of people getting sick in Mexico with a team from Canada getting humiliated. And the two things are not the same.
It's damning language.
Absolutely.
To use the word poison.
Yeah.
Because they could have perfectly gotten sick on the plane. Like Schuster said, it was something after the game, on the way home. You don't.
It's irresponsible.
If you have nothing nice to say, don't say
Yeah.
don't say anything at all. Ahora
Yeah,
tus comentarios.
Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Chris. But to allude that the only way that a league that has beaten you 19 out of the last 20 times could beat you now is by poisoning you, like throwing that in the air, like that's part of some masterful conspiracy, like that happened, and that's the excuse of why you got embarrassed. That's the excuse of why Columbus lost to Pachuca.
Mm-hmm.
It's not only damning, it's not only embarrassing, it's dangerous to the credibility
It
of
is.
Major League Soccer if you're going to cry wolf every single time you lose a game.
Can I just say something? Background from a Latin country like Venezuela. Those of us in Latin America, and I say that with the love that I have for my country, and I'll show you the love that I have for my country later on when we talk about my national team. We're not the best in organizing ourselves. We're not the best in putting plans together and executing those plans. Historically, we have had issues with this. To think that we can put a plan together to poison the whole Vancouver Whitecaps and that we're able to execute this without anybody finding out is nonsense. It's nonsense. It's irresponsible. It's irresponsible. Just take your beating.
Yeah.
Take your beating. You lost and you were humiliated. Take your beating. Get home.
Yeah, it's embarrassing, as Herc mentioned. And unfortunately, because of these comments that are so irresponsible, it's going to trickle into every single year. If the Concacaf Champions Cup keeps being played, at least the final in Mexico or at any stage, it's going to be a running joke between the teams, and it's not going to be good for the relationship between MLS and Liga MX.
And national team coaches have to be held at a higher standard.
Yes.
They have to hold
Yes.
themselves at a higher
Correct.
standard as well.
Yeah,
Correct.
and part of the reason, listen, Jesse Marsch, we know, is very upfront, which in part I very much appreciate. But here, he's putting his foot in his mouth.
So just tell him, get lost.
Putting his foot in his
Just
mouth.
get lost.
Get
Ciao. Ciao, Jesse. Ciao. Bye.
lost.
Bye.
All right, we don't want to tell you to get lost, Herc, but we do want to let you go get rehydrated after that humidity in Cary, North Carolina. Looking forward to those finals tomorrow, Herc. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Thanks for having me, guys. I gotta go get a cerveza. I'll see you guys later.
I'm sorry. We're allowed to do that?
Invita.
All right.